Get my camera angle decent here for you guys. Well, happy Monday, everyone. The busy weekend for me. Dropped the wife off over at. Still kind of setting everything up here. Dropped my wife off at the airport on Saturday, and came home, and then went up and visited a good friend to do kind of a private painting session. That sounds like my microphone's good. And then yesterday I decided I wasn't going to do anything really. I was tired, so I didn't. And and then yeah, so here I am. But anyways, uh, I don't even know where to start today. I'm still pretty worn out, tired, but we're gonna paint Goku. So I'm gonna start setting up for that right now, so we can get right into it. Oh, get myself a beverage here, a little something to drink. All right, good old Shasta. Yay. A little caffeine, a little cola flavor does the trick. All right. Well, just kind of looking him over to see if there's anything further I want to do. You know, not entirely happy with how far the glow in his eyes goes. It's been bugging me for a couple of days, so I think eventually I'm gonna go in here with some dry brushing and bring the green down over a little bit, because really the only part that should be glowing is the rim, like closer to the eyeball. So that's kind of bothering me. Down here, it's okay. I could maybe bring it in a little bit here in the corner of the eyes, but I want the light focused a little more forward. So that's what I'm looking at. Um, but we're not going to do that today. I want to get to painting Goku, because the stuff I got to do on here is quick and easy. I can do this later as a final touch up. So we're going to move this guy out of the way and start bringing Goku up to the stage. Anyways, I hope you guys all had a great weekend. Just gonna take inventory here. Now this part, that's gonna get painted separately from what I'm doing right now. And let's bring this down a little bit here. That's a good spot for now. So, since the skin on the legs is the smallest area of volume as far as paint is concerned, I think I'm gonna do skins first today. And I think what we're gonna do is use the fairy flesh set. Right off the bat, I'm seeing a couple little support zits to get rid of here. Two of them right inside his leg. turn that down a little bit so I can think. And we've got a lot of skin to do on his actual body. So we're gonna be doing all the skin today, at least to start with, and then we'll see how far along we get with that. Shouldn't take too long. There's not a lot to do. So let's start figuring out how we're gonna do our skin. I'm not trying to go ultra realistic or anything here, so I'm not gonna be doing the red, yellow, and blue wash. And I think I'm probably just going to use a couple of paints from, I think just from the Fairy Flesh set. It's going to work just fine. Just kind of looking for a natural, masculine skin tone. Little tan. You know, dude's kind of like a beefy, brawny guy. So reddish flesh. Let's go with base flesh. And then I think we'll go natural flesh, just a little step up from that. And then a highlight. So I think that's going to be our color palette today with the airbrush. Might as well get that out now. So I really want to get to this. I want to finish Goku and have this model done by no later than Wednesday. That is my goal at the moment. So I'm just going to move these out of the way for now. Huh. How's my internet seems slow. I'm looking at the monitor there, and it's not looking too good. I'm going to have to watch that pretty close. It says my signal's a little low down here. Would not be the case, but we're just going to keep plugging away anyways, because I got shit to do. Now, but my friend's house on Sunday, we had a great painting session. First time we'd hung out really in like 25 years maybe. And he is the one who got me into 3D printing. My very good friend. And so I spent the day up there with him painting and showing him some different techniques and stuff like that. And I didn't really clean out my airbrush. You know, I didn't bring my whole studio with me. So I'm just going to go over it real quick and just give it a really good inspection, make sure it's ready to carry some paint for us. And I mean, overall, it looks pretty damn clean in there. And to anybody stopping by, new subscribers, old subscribers, new people just checking the channel out, whatever. thanks for cruising by. If it's not your thing, at least please leave a like. Uh, my channel's meant to be kind of a place for for all of us to learn and share ideas and stuff and just enjoy and love the hobby of 3D printing and painting our models. Modeling in general. I kind of embrace, any kind of hobby, tabletop hobby and crafting that people do out there. I like it all. So leave a like, come and hang out sometime. We love you guys. All right. Cup was just a little had some dried paint on it, so I wanted to get that off of there while I had it off. Now, the nozzle here looks like it could use a little cleaning out. And once we get this back together, we can start mixing some paint up. I like to take a little bit of compressed air and just carefully blow it through the nozzle. Any tiny little dried flecks of paint and stuff will get blown out of there, hopefully. If there's any in there. It looks pretty clean. It's like there's a teeny little bit of paint collected up on the needle. Yep.
Someone else is listening to your Pandora account right now. Only one person can listen at a time. Return to Pandora to keep listening.
Nobody's listening to my Pandora account. Except me. Oh, see, there's still some paint on there. I don't know if you can see that right up on the tip. All right, now it looks good. Sorry about that. All right. Let's get some color mixed and start painting some skin. We're just going to kind of go down the line and see how it feels as we go along. Again, here's the color palette. So this is down the line what we're going to choose from. This one's definitely going down first. The base flesh will go next. And I'm not sure, but I'm either going to go with just a natural flesh and then the fairy flesh and then white. We'll see how it goes. And then there will be a shade at the end of that. It should go pretty quick. We're just going to do all the skin parts like all at once. Keep it pretty simple. I don't want it to be hyper realistic or any of that. I'm just going for kind of an animation look, trying to stay a little true to our friend Goku and his creators. Try to do some honor by it. Mix up some paint here. Starting to get low on my violet red, otherwise known as Pinkle. But Violet Red 70812 by Vallejo. Good stuff. Great base layer. Going about 50-50 mix on my distilled water. Give that a good mix. And the consistency I'm looking for, I just kind of go by what I see on the cup. See how it's kind of sticking to the cup real good. But it's working its way down. So about 50-50. I like the way that feels. We're not going to spray super heavy or anything, so I shouldn't really need a lot of paint, but it's a simple color, so we can mix it back up. I think, yep. I'm going to get the air tank on the compressor filled up here. I usually empty the air out in my compressor every couple of days. It does have a water collector on it, but I still like to empty it out just in case. You don't want that moisture, building up inside your tank. Cause a lot of problems. Adjust my airflow. Looking for about 18 psi. All right, sounds like our tank's full. Feels like that's going to hold on there okay. All right. Okie doke. Let's get some paint in our airbrush. Get banging away here at our first layer of skin. So this red violet um, really does serve well as kind of a, not kind of, but as kind of as it serves well as the color that skin is in its shadows, I think is the best way I can put it. We're not completely painting over this layer of skin either. We're going to be, our paints are pretty transparent. So this layer is underneath everything, and it adds its perspective boost to the color we're looking for in the skin tones. I'm definitely not the only one that does this. Most people are familiar with it probably from like um, Creative Collector. I think Ground Affected uses it. Boy Hobby Time. Those are just a few guys I know that use this method, and it works. Yep. Let that set aside and dry. I don't, can't remember if I glued his hair on yet or not. Yeah, I believe I did. Okay. Make sure to get behind your ears. Don't forget to get behind your ears. I know that was pretty bad. A little more paint. So far, so good. I'm happy with that. I've got another Lazy Susan around here somewhere that I can put them on. And I can't seem to find it. So we'll kind of, hopefully he'll stay propped up correctly right there. Get him dried off here. Once he's dry enough, I can do his hand, his other hand. Go. Couple drops of paint just so we can get his other hand. Pretty happy with that. So we'll get him propped up again. He can dry off for a few. And then we'll start working on our next skin tone. Shouldn't take too long to get to. Now I know how much paint I need to or don't need to use. That really didn't take much. Get him dried off here. He's not on there too well. So how's everybody doing today? So we got a couple of people watching. That's cool. Please leave a like if you don't mind. It really helps out my algorithm. But I hope you guys all had a great weekend. I was saying earlier how I had a pretty busy weekend, but a good one. I miss my wife a little bit. Cool. Well, that's looking good for the first layer. Nice even coating. And let's go ahead and mix up some more paint here after we get our airbrush cleaned out. Really important. Get that airbrush cleaned as soon as you finish a color. All right, next color. This time we'll just grab a smaller medicine cup. Not really keeping any of this paint, so it's okay to just get low on 74004. That's the next one. Base flesh. I thought about doing some like more cell shading effects on this, but I've never tried it, and I don't want to start today. Oh, we got a little glob coming out. See that? When you see your paint doing that, don't put it in your airbrush, or don't put it in the cup. I mean, I guess you can. We're gonna mix it up. Nah, that's a little too gobby. There we go. That's probably too much. I have to order some more. You can get fairy flesh here in the United States, the whole set for like, I think it's about $27 on Amazon. 27 USD. We can get it here pretty easy. I know some other countries in the UK and stuff, they have a little more trouble getting at it, unfortunately. And no, I probably don't need to say it, but I am not sponsored by Vallejo, but I do like their products a lot. Their paint has always has their paints have never failed me. Feels good. All right, let's see how we do with that on our friend here. So hope everybody had a great weekend. I hope your team won. I hope you got to see family, hang out. I hope you had fun. Whatever you did, I hope you had an awesome weekend. So again, this is the bass tone flesh. And I'm just kind of lightly spraying that almost straight on because I do want this tone to be behind in the shadows. It's kind of a shadow layer almost, the best way I can describe it. Spitting a little bit there. That was my mistake. So I don't know if you can see this, but we still have some of that violet red in the skin there. So this layer, we're put layer by layer. There's a certain transparency to each layer, so that you still see some of the previous color underneath it. That's that's one way to explain it. That's how I'm going to explain it. I'm assuming you guys are pretty smart. You know what's going on here. Oh, it was so easy to get to work on this guy today. I forgot to grab a glove. You should put a glove on soon. I'm gonna just keep going here with this layer though. A little more paint here. That's it for that layer. Starting to take shape a little better. Let's get our next color mixed up here after we clean our airbrush out. Oops. Now, you saw in the previous clean out, I used Q-tips. Another great thing to clean your airbrush out with is going to be a dry brush. I like the dry brush because the ferrule doesn't come in contact with the inside of the cup, scratching it up and all that shit. You don't want to scratch the inside of your paint cup. You do that, paint's going to find little areas to dry in that you don't want it to do that. Do not want paint to dry in your airbrush. No bueno. Not a good thing. I'm just spraying a little bit of IPA through it right now, some alcohol. Right. Natural skin tone. It's going to be our next one. That Peel Natural. Natural Flesh. 74006. Blah, blah, blah. Best vortex mixer out, in my opinion. Love this thing. Not cheap, though. Excuse me. Starting to get low on paint. I'm going to need to order some more of this. It's looking good. So now that we're getting up to the lighter layers of skin, these are going to be airbrushed at kind of like a downward, because we want to start picking up the highlights of the skin. And this is where the musculature really starts to show. The shadows start coming out. Just a very gentle coat. We're just starting to bring the highlights out. This is going to add a lot of definition and volume. See how that works. You can see those shadows there. Okay, and we're going to go into those shadows in a little bit here with another layer of skin. Same thing for his body. I'm going to go to downward angle. So I'm just checking symmetry and continuity with the shadow and everything right now. Overall, we're looking to be in good shape. I'm liking the way this is looking so far. Again, spraying at a downward angle. That's where our light source is coming from, is up top. Might need to break down the airbrush again here pretty soon. It's starting to feel a little finicky. Sometimes sometimes if there's a clog building up, it can fix itself. Let's hope for that. Give it a little back flush here. Feels good. I'll let you guys take a look at that while I'm cleaning the pot here. You can see how the light, shadows are starting to pick up from the bottom. And I think we're gonna do just one more highlight layer to really help that skin tone pop, and then we're gonna do a shade and call the skin good, and then we can start painting his clothing, his hair, some details on his face, and who knows, might get him done today. We'll see how long this takes. See how long I can deal with sitting in the chair here. Oh, looks like there we go. Lost my microphone there. Sorry about that. Sorry for the wait, guys, but a lot of subscribers asking me for long form videos, and I thought doing live stream would just be the easiest way to do that. And so here we are. And I mean, I've had a lot of thanks for it as well. People I guess some people appreciate hanging out and just watching me paint. There's a lot to learn from just watching somebody, true. I'm still trying to get used to this whole YouTube thing. It's pretty different. So I think we're good on this paint layer. Um, anytime I say that, I'm like, maybe I should hang on to this just in case. I feel like this is going to be too light. Now let's get her on the mixer for a while and see how it looks. And then I got a shade paint that I want to go get. Oh, let me find my shade. I'm looking for Reichland Flesh Shade by Citadel. It's a good. I like this skin tone. It's just really good for getting into shadows. There's a sepia they'd make that's pretty good as well, but it's a little too amber colored. So this is the Reichland Flesh Shade. We'll be spraying that upwards from underneath. Crank this up. I don't think I need the fairy flesh, so I'm going to put that one away. This is just too light. It looks like it's barely moving on camera. This stuff tends to separate pretty good, so I want to make, and I haven't used it in a minute, so I want to make sure I give it a really good mix. Get all that pigment in there, mixed into the medium. I think that's pretty good. And I'm going to load up with some Reichland Flesh Shade here so we can knock out this shade layer. And then we'll put our highlight down. And should be able to call it good. We'll see how we feel about it. See how I feel about it. I'm using a non-CCT light. But no matter how good a lighting you get, your project just never looks the same on camera as it does in the wild. So I'm just going to do a quick shade layer. Again, coming downwards. because it's going to be, he's standing up, shadows are down here, and the light's coming down here. So this is our shade layer. You can see that color a little on my hand. It's almost like a spray tan. All right. Digging the way this is looking. All right, same process with the lower body. Aiming for the shadows. little shadow under his hairline there. Bringing some nice definition to his face as well by adding those shadows. All right, one more layer to go. Gonna have a little bit of masking to do. Basically, just gonna use some silly putty to get around the shirt, and then yeah, may even just hand paint the shirt. See. I kind of don't want to. I don't want to paint the shirt or hand paint it. I would rather. I like the airbrushed look. It's a cartoon character, so, or an anime character, I should say. There's a big difference between anime and cartoons, and I acknowledge that. Can tell I like this paint for highlighting because I use it a lot. This is going to be a really light layer. I want this layer almost transparent. This is just a highlight. We're just barely touching it with some paint to bring the volume up a little bit. Shed a little light on the situation, shall we? Dope. All right. Shouldn't really need more than a few drops of our paint for this layer. Let's move him out of the way. Just literally getting it on the very spraying almost completely at a downward angle. Think of this like a flashlight. We're just shining some light on the model. Bring some light down here. I like it. Seeing a few little support bumps here I missed because I'm so damn blind. I cannot see very well close up at all. It's a thing you really don't, you miss a lot of stuff, and then you get to painting it, and all of it starts appearing as soon as you get your primer down. You see all the stuff you missed, and then you think you get it all, and then you realize I missed a bunch more shit. Fortunately, his hair is black, so a lot of these issues are going to disappear into the blackness of black. That looks better. All right. Cool. Digging it. So now we need a clear coat, not gloss. Looking for a flat clear, which I believe I have some of. There we go. So I'm just giving this a quick little clear coat over the skin parts to protect that layer of paint. I personally think, like, after you finish your skin tones, just clear coat them. Like, you know, you can go over that. You can, you know, if you missed a detail or something, it's real easy to go back over. And you don't have to worry about messing up the layers underneath because they're protected. So that's what I'm doing right now. All right. He is looking yoked and tan. It's working. I like it. And also, I want to get a protective layer down over that paint because I'm going to be using some silly putty to mask his skin up so that I can paint the his clothing. Ooh, smoky. Sorry about that. All right, I think that should be good. Now this part's not super fun. In fact, I'm kind of with most of us modelers, guys that paint stuff, you know, build models and paint them. We all hate masking anything because it's not fun. It's extremely time consuming and just tedious ad nauseum. Just sucks. But silly putty is your friend, It can really help speed things up when it comes to masking anything. I highly recommend it. So what I want to do is just carefully mask up his knees here, so that I can go around and paint his trousers. And because I'm kind of blind and I need to concentrate, there's some detail in there that I want to push into and make sure the silly putty's covering it up well. I'm going to put on my magnifying glasses so I can really see what I'm doing. I just want to cover up that skin enough to where I can confidently paint over his pants. And then anything I miss inside the pants, on the inside there, I can hand paint that. Silly putty's great though. It really helps cut down your time for masking. If I was trying to do this with tape, uh, I'd lose my freaking mind. Um, you can also use latex, liquid latex. I use a liquid latex by Vallejo, but that stuff can be finicky as well. And silly putty can just be very quick and forgiving. It's nice, and it's reusable. Um, my last batch of silly putty that I got on Amazon, it's real cheap on Amazon, lasted me a year before I finally decided to retire that gob of junk. You basically use it until, well, for me, it was like when I noticed little bits of paint starting to stick to shit. I was like, okay, it's time to get rid of, because you get paint trapped up inside of it after a while. And I was like, okay, yeah, it's time to get rid of this batch of silly putty and get a new one. And this silly putty I'm using now is pretty new. Not trying to make it perfect or anything. I just want to get most of, well, I want to get all the skin covered. Anything in here that I over cover too much and, none of the color gets to it, I'm just going to hand paint that. Clean it up. Just give our coverage a little inspection here, make sure we're good. This side's going to be a little tougher, I think. There's more detail, but it's still a hell of a lot easier. This part would be a good candidate for, latex. You could just paint some liquid latex over his knees and call it good. Let it dry out, and then go ahead and start painting. Oop, sorry about that. My head is like right below my camera, so gotta be careful not to bump it. Oh yeah, yesterday was my dad's birthday. Happy birthday, Dad! Again. Fortunately, my dad is still around, so I was able to have a nice little talk, little conversation with him later in the day. Sounded like he had a good day. If anybody's having their birthday today or whenever they get around to watching this live stream, happy birthday to you. Maybe it's even your birthday today, right now. Happy birthday. That's the great thing about Silly Putty too, is it's very moldable, malleable. You can move it around relatively easy and cover spots up. I'm just using like a sculpting tool to manipulate it into position, as it were. Whoever's hanging out watching the channel right now, thanks for hanging out. Thanks for stopping by. Feel free to say hi in the chat if you so desire. And like I always say, if you're feeling shy and don't want to say anything, that's totally okay as well. Maybe there's a reason why you can't speak at the moment. All right, just going over my coverage now and making sure we're masked off properly. And then I know his pants are orange, so we got to find an orange that we like. Something that matches Goku's standard attire. Yo, hey, Jerry, what's happening, my dude? How's your day going, man? Probably you just get home from work or something? Thanks for stopping by. Feel free to hit the like button. Smash that like button. Just getting our friend Goku's legs masked off here. Already got our skin tone done. Show you where I'm at here. Skin tones are all done. And we ended up using, might as well recap. Started off with our violet red, and then we went over to our base flesh, and then we did natural flesh, and then we did a shade with Reichland flesh shade, and then we topped it off with light flesh by uh, Vallejo model color. So yeah, our skin tones are done. I'm happy with it. I think he looks pretty yoked and muscular, and looks like Goku. So yeah, moving on to the pants, the los pantalones. So I'm masking up his legs there, and then I'll have some masking to do on his shirt to get that airbrushed. So that'll be super fun to do because everybody loves masking. Let me get these paints put away really quick. Base flash. Need to go through some of my paints and get a better organization going. It's ever evolving constantly. I can put the flesh shade away. And I'm looking for an orange. There's a Troll Slayer orange that looks pretty good, but I think it's more of a highlight. That's this by Citadel. And then I've got some Super Sheep orange. Hold on, let me check your question out here. How long can you use it before throwing it away? Okay, great question. I actually just covered that when I pulled it out. Okay, and then there's... Bear with me here. Okay, and then I also have Prorackle orange. I don't know. Well, we're just going to start spraying shit and see what happens. I was just saying before you came on, I was talking about Silly Putty. And the last batch that I had was about a year. I just replaced it and got... This is a new batch. So it was about a year with all the painting and stuff I do. And, shit. I got sidetracked. It was about a year, and a couple of months ago, I was using it and noticed that there were little paint flecks getting left behind on my model. And I literally had to stop what I was doing and stop painting it because it was fucking up the paint. And I had to wait until I got more. I forget exactly what it was, but it was something too detailed to want to tape it, so I went ahead and ordered new Silly Putty. But you know about the rate that I go through paint jobs with my models, and it lasted me about a year, so it's pretty good. And I was also saying on Amazon where I bought it, it's a pack of, I think it's 6 eggs. And in fact, the paint does dry on it, but unlike tape or tape or latex, when the paint dries on it, it can it leaves behind frayed paint. I think that's the best way I can put it. The Silly Putty does that, but I find that the Silly Putty is a little easier to clean up. With the paint from the Silly Putty, the little frayed edges, just feels easier to clean up. I don't know how to explain it. But it took Like I've used this batch of silly putty several times now. And what I usually do is, I'll kind of knead it. Like, so right here, you can see there's a chunk of like paint that actually dried in it. And I can just kind of flick it off. Like if you knead it and move it around, like any chunks of paint will, think of it like a fidget toy. If you're fucking around with it, like little flecks of paint will come out like that. And you just work it out like pus in a pimple. I don't know. 1381. Thanks for looking that up for me, dude. I was gonna do that. So yeah, 6-pack. This is a 6-pack right here. And if I start getting bits that are really bad, I'll just, I'll pull it off and toss it. But yeah, it lasted me about a year, and it's such a great way to mask shit, man. With an area this small, details like this, like if you got to paint a shirt, like you just slap some silly putty around it, and then just use a little sculpting tool. I use that one. Where's my other one at? I got another one that I really like to use. Is this one? It's got kind of a beveled edge, and then it's got this sharper. I actually sharpened this one, but I like that it gets into curved areas really well. I'll probably use it on this one. You just use it to push the silly putty into the areas you want, and then any places that you miss with paint, you can just go over it by hand. Like his pants or anything. Like that part right there, where the silly putty's kind of overlapping into the tear on his pants. I'll just hand paint that. No big deal. But I'm not going to mask him up right now. I'm going to start painting the orange for his pants. So bear with me one sec. I got to look at my color reference for his pantalones. And I got a fuck ton of pictures to delete. So Sunday, I went up to a buddy's house and did kind of like a private painting session. I'm kind of teaching him how to. Oh, so his pants are kind of like a reddish orange. I'm gonna do them orange. Wait. Okay, I gotta look at a couple other pictures here. Yeah, they're orange. Orange and blue. All right. So that's what I'm gonna do. So yeah, I did like a private session with my buddy. I can't even call it that, man. We were just hanging out. He is my friend who got me into. Oh, dude, I highly recommend it, Jerry. Yeah, if you're painting any kind of models, you got to have you have to have silly putty in your arsenal. Silly putty is, I can't stress enough how amazing it is to use for masking stuff. I mean, dude, could you imagine if you didn't have any tape, or let's say imagine if you didn't have any latex paint, liquid latex. This is what I use. This is my liquid latex. Everybody knows this stuff. It works fantastic. But when you paint with liquid latex, you typically want to peel that latex off as soon as possible, or funky shit can happen with your paint, and it's not fun to deal with. But you don't have that problem with silly putty. And when you've got something with a lot of shape to it like that, you just take that silly putty and use your sculpting tool to get in there and move it around. You're good to go. It's good stuff. I like it. And no, I'm not sponsored by Silly Putty. That would be cool. I'd be stoked to be sponsored by Silly Putty. I forget sometimes too that it bounces. I'll be fucking around with it and stuff, when I'm thinking about something or whatever. You can roll it up into a ball and bounce it around too. If your place is clean, anyways. I the last time I bounced a ball of silly putty here in the garage, I ended up regretting it because it got all kinds of shit stuck in it. I was picking rocks and hair and shit out of it, and had to throw it. I think that was the first batch of silly putty I made or I bought. Learned my lesson with that. I had to throw out the whole batch, and so yeah, if you're in a clean space and not a garage. It's pretty transparent. I feel like I might have made that a little too thin. I'm going to add a little more paint. Yeah. We have 3 cats. Well, one of them's still a kitten. Kevin's a kitten, but the other 2 boys they're big boys and they are long hair, as you have seen. Yeah, and a small dog, a Chihuahua Dachshund mix. So hair is basically a condiment in our house. It's in everything, whether you want it to be or not. And somehow it migrates down here into the studio too. Okay, so okay, and his boots are blue. Boots are blue. And it looks like a yellow stripe. Red ropes. Are those red? Huh. Maybe I'll make them gold. That'd be kind of cool. Gold on blue looks nice. I like the way it looks. Get back over to my YouTube screen here. Yeah, no worries, dude. See you when you get back. Oh, that reminds me, I need to stand up and walk around a little bit. Oh, I've got a terrible chair down here in my studio, and I really need to replace it with like a nice, like I need to replace it like with a nice gaming chair that I have in my office upstairs. That's what I really need to do. I'll take this minute to say, notice there's a couple other people in the chat here. You're not talking, totally cool. Thanks for coming and hanging out. I totally appreciate your time. And if you don't mind leaving a like before you bounce, that would be awesome. I really appreciate it. Just getting ready to paint Goku's orange pants. And I'm kind of looking at some color references to see what color his shirt is. It's blue, and then he's got a blue or a black belt. I might, yeah, I don't know. I might do like a black belt on him. Goku changes a lot, I've noticed, depending on like what his superpower is at the time. Ah. All right. Let's go ahead and start painting some orange. Welcome back, my good sir. This is a nice looking orange, actually, for the pants. I'm digging it so far. It's good old fashioned cheap airbrush paint. You gotta love it. So I was saying earlier, I went up to my buddy's place up in, up, and spent the day painting with him on Sunday, teaching him some different techniques. And he's my buddy that actually got me into 3D printing. It's his fucking fault. And, he's been sitting on all these 3D prints, some really cool Predator shit. And he just wasn't ever getting around to painting them. And he knows his way around a paint bottle, that's for sure, or a spray can for that matter. And anyway, spent the day with him. And due to their professions, him and his wife's, they sent me home with a whole bunch of art supplies and stuff. I'll have to show you guys later what I acquired. I was pretty stoked on it. Still pretty stoked on it. Oh yeah, very cool of them. All right, this is sucking up a lot of orange. It's coming along. Yeah, it was very nice of them. His wife had to go to work. I don't know if you remember the Groot and Rocket model that I painted. I actually brought that up to them for a gift. The person who originally was going to buy it backed out. Well, I gave it to my friend and his wife. Immediately claimed it and said it's going in her office at work. She's into Marvel stuff, so worked out pretty cool. Yeah, it was fun. I told him next time I come up, it's skin tone day. I'm gonna teach him how to do skin tones. Right now, I I'm upping my Google Drive so that we can exchange some 3D files. I did not realize how many freaking 3D files I had. Well over 300 gigs of 3D print files. I think this orange is probably going to take 2 coats to get the proper orange that I want. Stay, damn it. Oh, nice. Tacos. Enjoy, you guys. Tell Jen I said hi. I believe the airbrush is about to go into the jewelry cleaner. It is not. It's starting to get a little finicky. Could be developing a little clog. Can hear it squeaking a little bit. I need to lubricate the trigger. Sorry about the noise there, guys. Let's get this airbrush cleaned up a little bit here and see how we do. Put some alcohol through it. Loosen that stuff up. Alrighty. Let's have a look, see. Needle's looking good. Nozzle's nice and clear. I'm not pulling anything out of there. Very well could be that any clog that was developing already got blown out. Take a little compressed air here and blow that out. I picked up a little paint. Not much though. That's all right. Should be back in business here. Feels good. Much better. Whatever was going on isn't going on now, so I think we're all right to continue. Now I'm going to do a layer of this Troll Slayer Orange by Citadel. On these pants, I want to see how it looks. I should probably mix this up because I don't believe I've ever opened this before. Pretty well dried. That's a nice looking orange, actually. Curious to see how it looks on the model. All right. Sprays real nice right out of the pot. Feels good. Spraying at 18 psi. It's almost an identical orange to what we were just using. Only 5 times more expensive. I definitely feel like the coverage is a little better between the two paints. And they look like identical in color, but they do not spray the same out of my airbrush. That's for sure. All right, digging how that's looking. Hmm. I like how that looks. Now, all right. I think that's pretty good. Hmm. So now I'm going to start working on the shade. And we have several options for shading. You might ask, what do you use to shade with orange? Well, you can use a darker orange, which is what I think I'm going to be going for. Um, you can use a complementary color like blue or purple if you want like realistic deep shadows. Um, you can, or like I said, you can just add some black to the orange for a more muted shade of orange, which is what I think I'm going to go for. Not too dark though. I don't want it to be super dark. Another color you can use with to shade orange that works pretty well is brown. Um, it really just depends on your subject and what you feel looks good. In this case, I already have orange out, and typically in comic books and anime, you're just gonna see a darker version of the paint for the shadows. So we're gonna keep it simple and just make some darker orange. Easy peasy. The trick with black too, like if you want to bring orange down in shade, you want to be really careful adding your black because it can overpower it really quick and turn your orange into mud. Um, or it can turn brown. And we don't need a lot because we're just going to be adding some shadow, kind of like how we did the skin tones. Um, so I've got a nice black here. This is just like a cheap airbrush paint in a dropper bottle, and we're just going to add one drop at a time and mix that up. In fact, let's add a little bit of water first. Well, we'll just leave it there. And let's add one drop of black and see where that brings us. You can see what I mean, like just that one drop dramatically changed our orange. To almost, it's like brown orange. It's bronze. So I want to bring that up again by adding more orange to it. I've still got some black here. Where's my orange that I was using? There we go. That's bringing that orange back up again. Still like a light brown. So I want that to come back up again. It's okay. I mean, brown's going to shade this pretty nice. I'm just going to be spraying up. But again, I don't want it too dark. I want to bring it up just a little more. It's like 2 more drops of orange. Getting close. Three more drops. Here's our shade tone. I like that. Think that looks good. And like I said, if I'm not satisfied with that too, I can go to kind of a little bit of a blue to add a more natural looking shadow to it. But I think this is pretty good where we're at for now to give a try too. Let's see how that works. Consistency feels good. All right, let's get some into our airbrush and start shade. Again, it's not going to take a lot here. It's a pretty subtle difference. This is good. It's what I want. So I'm just spraying this into the bottom of the pants and into the wrinkles of the pants. So I just want a slight variation in shade. I am liking the way this is looking. Oh, that was quick, man. So I'm just working on the shade here for the orange, and I decided to go with a dark orange. It's almost a brownish color, and I'm spraying that into, spraying at a downward angle to get into all these wrinkles, and then I'm going to be following that up with uh, uh, kind of a bluish tinge for the shadows. Can't remember. Drakenhof Nightshade. Yeah, it's a decent orange, especially once you get the shadows into it. You know, I'm digging it. It's not too overpowering. I didn't want it to be too bright. I went and looked at a bunch of reference photos and was like, okay, it's kind of a subdued orange. So I think we're done with that. Get rid of that. And let's clean our airbrush out to get ready for our blue. I was mentioning while you were gone, um, a lot of people might ask what you would use to shade orange with. And I was explaining that, you have several options that make sense when you're looking at orange as a color. One, you can use blue. Mixing blue in is going to give you more like of a burnt orange or a darker muted shade. You can add purple to it, and that's going to create a shadow that's a lot darker, and it's going to have a more earthy tone to it. And or you can just take your orange that you're using for your base color and add some black to that, and that if you go that option, which is what I did, you want to be really careful because a tiny amount of black can really change what the orange does. It can make it muddy and brown really quick and easy, which it did. I actually had to add quite a bit of orange to bring it back up to the shade I was looking for. In my case, with this model, I am going to be using a tiny bit of blue in this Drakenhof Nightshade by Citadel. Um, in these deeper recesses, where the shadows would be a lot darker, we're going to use a little bit of blue in there. So, where do I have that? You could use Calth Blue, but it's another Citadel paint, but it's a little too bright, I think. Where is Nightshade? Drakenhof Nightshade. Where do I have it at? That's not it. Oh, I can't wait to get all my Citadel paints up on the wall. There we go. Ah! Slowly moving all of my Citadel paints up on the up onto the pegboard, so they're right in front of me instead of being all over the place. And I just need literally a very small amount of this stuff. Okay, maybe more than 3 drops. And I have my air pressure turned down to 18 psi. Okay. Here's my low battery notice, which I think is just enough time for me to get this done. I may go back on today. I want to at least get the pants just about finished. All right. Just going very subtle with this. I'm literally aiming this blue only at the upper folds, the underside of the folds and the wrinkles there. It's the only place. A little bit under his bum. Again, really subtle with this. A little heavier on the underside of the pants where the shade would be the most. And you can see blue, you know, okay, for those of you who don't know, blue is complementary color to orange. You can so it always works well to shade orange. Terrible English of me. It always works well. My English teacher would be rolling in his grave right now. English professor, sorry. Sorry, professor. I think that's a nice looking orange. The highlights on it look good. Let's see how we did under the skin. So here's to answer your question about how the silly putty works when you peel it off. You can see the paint's dried on it. And look at that. Look how nice, you know, how little work that was. Like, how satisfying is that for a masking job? Boom, it's gone, you know. And if it's too saturated with paint after you knead it out, like, Seems to have blended in pretty well. So like this piece, I'll actually save this. Like there's nothing wrong with it. It'll blend into the rest of it well. But yeah, uh, worked out really well. Um, very minor touch ups with the brush that I'm gonna have to do, if at all. I mean, it's there's a little bit here on this fold, but not much to do to it at all. It looks pretty damn good. So, all right, let's see how we're looking after today's work. See if I gotta get upstairs and rest my back for a little bit and recharge my phone. I may not need to recharge the phone so much as just plug it in for a little while, and while I'm resting, I don't know if I'm gonna live stream again today or not. I might though. It's Monday, and I really want to get this damn model done real soon. So let's see how we're looking here. All right. I think I'm going to do his belt either dark blue or black. I haven't decided yet. I would like to get to his shirt today, though. Get his hair done, maybe. I think it's looking pretty damn cool, though. I think the client is going to be quite stoked about that. I'm going to keep it simple with the blues, too. I'm going to use the same blue on the shirt as I do on his boots. And just a simple black on the belt. Call it good. Shit, I think I can paint the belt right now. Oops, just for fun. Let's get this blue out of here real quick. I got a little bit of time to get this guy done, I think. Yeah. I lost my feed on my YouTube for YouTube on my iPad. Let's get back to that. There we go. Oh, thanks, Jerry. I appreciate it. I hope the client loves it. Well, the client is actually buying this as a gift, commissioned this as a gift for his son-in-law. So I hope the son-in-law likes it a lot. That's really what I care about. We're just gonna do black, and then I'll probably dry brush it with a light gray for the highlights. very thin black. We'll let that part dry for a bit and then get the highlights on it later. Bah! Don't break, please. Whew, we survived. Oh, come on here. Yeah, probably just dry brush some dark gray highlights on it and call it good. Keep it simple with that. All right, let's have another look at it. Now, one thing I'm considering is doing his hair. I'm gonna do it either black or like a bright electric blue. Those are two different ways they have it in the show that I saw. But I think I think the black is gonna look better with this iteration of Goku. So I'm probably gonna just go with black hair. And it'll be nice and simple because I can just do the black, hand paint the black on there and then dry brush it real quick with some dark gray highlights, just like I'm gonna do the belt here, and call it good. But yeah, so far I'm digging it. Yeah, right. I was kind of the same way until I started working on them, and then I found out my dad was really into Dragon Ball Z. I didn't know my dad had watched like the whole series religiously, so he was telling me a little bit about Goku, and now I know more about Goku than I thought I ever would. But that's cool. I always like to know a little bit about the character I'm painting. Just looking them over now, I'm digging the way the skin turned out. I think I made some good progress today. I like the skin. I'm digging the shadows. The orange on the pants, I'm enjoying that. Just a very small touch up to do with that. And yeah, I'm considering just hand painting the shirt. Uh, instead of masking it off and everything. I mean, if the masking goes as smooth as it did down here, I should be all right. I'm not too concerned about it. It's like there's a little support in there I missed, of course. Sneaky little fuckers. There it goes. It's always a ton of shit that I notice is wrong with it that I know the person that looks at it is never going to see. Little things. Another thing I wanted to do is bring the color of the dragon's eyes down a little closer to the rim here because the glow is it's over glowing. I don't know. That's the only way I can put it. There's too much glow to it. There shouldn't be any glow on top of his eyes. I want that focused forward. And I feel like I could bring it in a little bit more here too. Like it's glowing too much this way. Yeah. Again, stuff that, you know, the client's never going to notice, but I will. I will definitely know it's there. I won't be able to let it go. Can't let it go until until it looks right. Yeah, so far, I'm digging it. You think it looks good as it is? Yeah, I appreciate that, man. It's bugging me. I've been looking at this thing all weekend, and it's just something I find wrong with it. You know, the glow's coming down his face a little too far, to me. Um, just need to. I want it. I want the glow to be more focused. And the good news is that I would be dry brushing that in. You know, I would just be pulling some green down into it, and then dry brushing some lighter green on top of that. It would be really easy to fix it. The problem. It would be easy to fix the problem that I'm having with it. Is what I should say. Yeah, but nope. I think I'm making some good progress so far. I'm happy with how far I got today. And I think I will be back down here in a little while once I get things charged up. Put another paint session in because I really, if I have my druthers, this guy's gonna be done by tomorrow. But I don't want to. I don't want to say that too early. Stabilize that guy a little bit. But yeah, I would like to come back in tonight and get at least get the shirt and the hair done, and maybe the shirt and the boots and the hair. That's all gonna go pretty quick. Then I'll be hand painting his wrist thingies. I don't even know what those are supposed to look like. What color are the? Oh, okay, they're the same color as. The wrist guards are the same color as his boots seeing a lot where his belt is blue too. And I might have to go in with some dark blue. Well, you know what? I'll just dry brush it. I'll dry brush it with a light gray and then a light shade of blue on there with the airbrush. The same blue as I use for his, everything else. I think that's the plan. I think that's what I'm gonna do. All right. Well, I am going to stretch out my legs and get up and charge my stuff here. And I'm going to plan on being back down later tonight. What about the hair? I think I know his hair is the yellow blonde. Yeah. Yeah, apparently his hair changes color depending on what I think they call it, the super cyan thingamajigger. Whatever, whenever he goes into God mode, it depends on the particular God mode he's in. One God mode he's in is his hair's black. Another God mode his hair's blue. Another God mode his hair's blonde. So it changes. He's not exclusive with his hair color. So there's that. Oh, yeah, dig all this stuff my buddy gave me before my phone dies here. So I got this cool box of stuff. Got some trees. Got some big old fat nugs. Bunch of moss. Different mosses for diorama. Let's see. Got some grasses. Some different grains of grass. What else do we get? What is this? Oh, look, brick rollers. If I ever need to mold some brick. Here's some deer. He threw a bunch of shit in here I didn't even see him throw in. Little mini. Oh, those are cute. My wife will love that stuff. My wife is very crafty. Oh, and then there's this cool thing. It's a Lazy Susan cutting mat. It rotates. So I'm pretty curious to try that out. I mean, I don't ever need to cut shit while I'm doing circles, but I mean, it might be kind of cool on the hobby mat here. Yeah, just a bunch of random stuff. I don't want to say exactly what his wife does, but with the industry she's in, they basically wind up with a garage full of arts and craft supplies that they don't do enough stuff with, and so they just give it all away to their friends and everything every year. And I was the willing recipient of boxes of shit. That was just one box. I mean, I got all this stuff too. Swiffers. You gotta love Swiffers if you got hardwood floors. I got 2 tubs full of Swiffers. Paint markers. Dowel rods. Twine. More paint markers. This is like a tag label maker. You can cut a tag out in that shape. And then you put a little rivet in there. Or yeah, you put a little rivet right here. Stamp it down. And then you got a rivet. So that's cool. Paint brushes. Who doesn't love? I could see Jen freaking out right now. Like, oh my God. And Jen, if you want, I will send you some of these because I am not going to need them. I will put together a bunch of brushes and send them to you because I know you go through paint brushes like crazy. And if you need scissors or anything, I got a fuck ton of scissors. I got a new kitchen scale. All kinds of fun shit. So yeah, it was a fun trip. I am going to wrap this up and catch you guys in a little while. Oh, my microphone's fucked. Let's see here. All right, back on the mic. Yeah, it is a very good haul. So yeah, that all being said and shown, I'm gonna go charge some stuff up so that I can get back to him in a little bit and try to. And yeah, I'll be back in a little while. So here's the thing I always do. You're gonna go back here this time. There, that'll work. Yeah, I'll definitely be back on later if you guys are available. But yeah, thanks for hanging out. Thanks for watching. And as I always say, happy 3D printing, happy painting. Please leave a like and subscribe if you dig. And much love to you and yours. Have a nice day and toodles.